Good morning. So our seals have arrived from Trail Gear. Let's have a look inside. That's their heavy duty axle seal. It's a beast of a seal. So let's get it in. Alright, so the axle's in. It's all happy in there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill this cavity up with more grease. Even though I've got that to send through with the grease gun, I'm still going to fill this cavity up. Now the reason I don't fill it up before I put the CV, and I've learned in the past, is you put too much in and then you can't get the CV home. Grease is actually really strong when it's packed in there tightly. So the grease we're using is a CV2. It's the same grease that's in the CV already. Alright, so we better humour my idea before we continue bolting all this back up. What my plan is first I've got to slot that so I can get the brake line off and get the caliper out, and then I'll take this out and I'll show you. Alright, my caliper's still safe there. Let's take this out in the sun. So the idea is not to use this, but the problem I have is that this thickness, I don't know if that's going to upset anything when I bolt the spindle back on. So my idea was to actually try and cut this out. Back to putting it all together. I think that's going to work. Alright, so the spindle's first, flat section at the bottom. Just hold that in. Okay, now what would have been next was the backing plate. So now it's going to be this. Alright. And then I need the seal. Get one bolt in. Guys, for next move we'll be getting this disc all prepared to go back on. I've got the racers in, just got to grease up the bearings. I just noticed the oil mark on that tyre from gear oil. Oh, hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. Alright, so we'll pack these bearings and get that disc on. It's important not to forget to fill that cavity between the two bearings. I find it easier before the bearing goes in just because big hands. Yeah, I just fill it flush in between. Okay, so we're ready to get this disc on now. Pop into the seal, clean up some of that grease. So the washers first. Somebody's been using a screwdriver. I think I got this 54mm socket for like my 45th birthday. So for the rest of my life before that I was using screwdrivers. Okay, so what I do is I'll do this right up, throw the wheel on, get my bearing torqued up to the wheel, lock it all together, and then take the wheel back off. I'm going to have to be happy with that. There's still a touch of play. It could be my kingpin. Such a big tyre. Right, so a couple in, a couple out. In, out. Now we've got to work out what we're gonna do with this brake line. How good's that now, being totally exposed? Be able to clean all the mud in behind there every time I go bush. Up in. Just worried about these brakes now. We're gonna have to get a new hose made up. One from here straight down to the back of the caliper. All in flexi, I guess, and then I'm gonna have to find somehow to... I just looked over at the old backing plate. I noticed that's bolted on. Might be able to undo that. Yeah, right. Hang on, two ends. Then I might be able to zip tie the brake line to the hole that this bolt's going through. This will work. So if that bolts back to that, then I can just zip tie that there. How good's that? It'll be temporary. I'll get a new brake line eventually. Okay, so we'll bolt it all back up. Okay, so we're all bolted up. This bracket's going to work good. I'll put a zip tie here, and that's temporarily fixing that problem. Just like I bought one. Final decision that we're making is whether we go with a conventional freewheeling hub with the hub gears, or we go dry flange. I'm going to go with the dry flange this time. What's stopped me in the past is having that front tail shaft spinning all the time, like as if your wheels are the hubs are locked in. But I've made up a new shaft. It's the correct length. I've got 20 mil of slip there. New unis. So for now, the dry flanges will do the job. Something Adam doesn't have to check before every stage to check our hubs are locked. We know they're locked. Now the boys can't play games with me and free one. No, so these were normally in our toolkit as a spare. Now that I know everything's new and greased up for a little while, the dry flange is the answer. If in a circumstance where we do blow a diff or break a CV, I would have to just remove that instead of freeing the hub. But I'll have the freewheeling hub in the toolbox as a spare. We're almost done. Just got to cover the end of that with a cap. Take the cap off, grease your CV. Perfect. Can't wait to get back out in the big girl and wheel it. So it's just a matter now of putting the wheels on and we're done. Ready to go on the trailer. I'll have to retire the trailer from hauling all the bikes and quads and bring it back home to put the bullet on. But I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and once again, thanks for watching.